And Steelers are 2 days away from kicking off the preseason with the Hall of Fame game, and Dak Prescott is still nursing an arm injury. I want you to hear what our friend Tim Hasselbeck says. He thinks it's an issue that might not be going away.
Well, as somebody who's had a sore arm in training camp before, I do think it's a bit of an issue. Now, he could recover fine. They do have the benefit of time. But the thing I'll tell you is this, a lot of times that arm soreness, it never really goes away. It lingers because you don't really have that much time to let it completely calm down. And once you start throwing again, it starts to bother you again. And if you just think about it this way, you hope to still be throwing a football at the beginning of February. It is a marathon of a season. And so for that reason, I do think it's something to keep an eye on.
I think it is imperative to hear from the quarterbacks on an issue like this. There's one of them. Here's another. Dan Orlovsky, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm not concerned, but it's got my attention. 2 years ago, we watched Dak Prescott, last game of the season, have to go up to Philadelphia, play and try to win the division, and he couldn't play as well as he wanted to do because of the shoulder. Then we go to last year, and he obviously has that catastrophic ankle injury. And now that same shoulder that I just talked about from 2 years ago has some pain in it, some strain in it. This isn't ideal. This isn't great. I'm not my concern isn't incredibly high, but it's got my attention because Tim is right. The quarterback, throughout the season, you could rest a lot of things. You could find ways to rest an ankle, find ways to rest a knee, find ways to rest some other body part. It's very, very difficult to rest a shoulder. Quarterbacks are going to do one thing throughout the season that I can bank on: throw. You're going to throw almost every single day. And that's going to be something to pay attention to. It absolutely has my attention, Dak Prescott and his shoulder in Dallas.
Shefty, they have put a brave face on this, if you will, in Dallas. They're talking like it's no big deal, at least publicly. What are you hearing?
Well, Greeny, that's exactly what they're going to do and what they're supposed to do. They're not going to say, boy, Dak's got a sore arm, we're concerned about this. They're going to do the right thing right now, which is basically not have him throw in the preseason, not have him play in the Hall of Fame game this week, take his time to get ready. It's August 3rd. The season doesn't open until, 4 weeks from Thursday? Or 5 weeks from Thursday. They've got plenty of time to sit down, and it's more important to make sure that Dak's shoulder is rested and healthy for the long term, for the marathon that Tim Hasselbeck is referring to, not to have extra training camp throws. And again, you go back to the offseason, there had to be so much emphasis on getting his ankle and leg right for this upcoming season that maybe his shoulder got a little bit overlooked and wasn't trained the way it ordinarily was. So now you make up for it. Now you rest the shoulder. But as Tim Hasselbeck points out, this could just linger all season long. Don't think he's missing time. It's not like he's going to miss games over this, but you want Dak Prescott functioning as close to 100% as you possibly can.
All right, so you were not relaxed, Mike T, when it came to Carson Wentz. Are you relaxed when it comes to Dak?
No, because I'm going to quote Bill Parcells: quarterbacks throw with their legs. We want them to squat. We want them to clean. And the all-time greats, guys like Dan Marino, Vinny Testaverde, they're going to go to the grave with great arms, Greeny, but it's their feet, or in someone like Testaverde, he tore his Achilles. So I am concerned. I agree with Dan, Tim Hasselbeck. This is an 18-week, 17-game marathon. If he has soreness in early August, I would be concerned. I would put him on a pitch count. And to me, this is a residue of the rust of not playing for over a year.
All right, so what does that mean, though? Does that, when the season begins, will this have any impact? They open on a Thursday night, as you well know. You've actually predicted they're going to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 5 weeks from this Thursday. Does this change that at all?
Possibly, absolutely. They may have to put him on a pitch count all year long, and it's going to take them a while to get up and running. Again, this is a guy that didn't play last year, still learning a new system, some new faces coming back with offensive line. It may take a while. This is going to be a work in progress in terms of their offense.
Right, as we say, we are working our way quickly towards the beginning. Yeah, go ahead, Danny. Quick thought. Go.
Mike T, do you think they should go sign Nick Foles?
He's going to be an Indianapolis Colt. He's not available.
I just wanted to check.
Can every team sign Nick Foles? In a perfect world, if every team had Nick Foles, except for the one that he's on, because that was the one place that it didn't work out for him at all. All right, Shefty, let me run the hurry up with you here, because there's a bunch of news and notes out there. It starts with Kirk Cousins. What is the latest?
Listen, I think Mike Zimmer's been a little bit frustrated about the Vikings quarterback room and Kirk Cousins' unwillingness to get the vaccine at this point in time. And obviously they're shorthanded at the quarterback position. They claimed yesterday on waivers, a quarterback from the Seattle Seahawks, just to get through here. But the Vikings quarterback room is in trouble with Kirk Cousins right now on the reserve COVID list. And then from Kirk Cousins, we got a Devonta Smith, the Eagles rookie first-round draft pick, who sprained his MCL over the weekend. He's going to miss 2 to 3 weeks, which essentially knocks him out of the preseason. Not ideal for a rookie wide receiver. You want to get him some looks, some action, and the first time he could be in action would be the Eagles' regular season opener. The team doesn't sound concerned, but again, not a great situation. And then yesterday, the Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford banged his thumb. There was some concern within the organization when it happened. Keep in mind, Stafford underwent all-season surgery on his hand. He was shaking it yesterday. There was a little bit of a cut. There was no stitches. The team now thinks he's fine, doesn't believe it's an issue, but will monitor Stafford. And just think, Stafford gets hurt yesterday. Wentz gets hurt last week. Dak's got a sore arm. We're about a week into training camp, and these quarterback injuries are piling up. So to go back to Mike T's favorite quarterback, there might be more teams out there that could be making a push for Nick Foles.
Yeah, is it possible that by the time we get to the beginning of the season, Shefty, I will ask you about 31 teams in the NFL acquiring Nick Foles?
It's
Orlovsky
possible, Brady. It's early in training camp right now. Why not?
Orlovsky may be signed by the C blocks.
That's right. That's exactly right. We may need to get Hasselbeck in here before the end of the show because Orlovsky could wind up on the Colts. All right, as we continue, we got Tom Brady's birthday today.
Everything within reason to make sure that over a 17-game marathon that I have somebody else there besides Jacob Eason.
Okay, so Jacob Eason would not be a satisfactory. So who is that someone else?
It's easy. It's Nick Foles. He's making $4 million a year, Greeny, right now, sitting in Chicago. And I've been there. Ryan Tannehill got hurt in a preseason practice. We had to go out and beg Jay Cutler to come out of the Fox broadcasting booth. This is someone that makes $4 million a year. He knows the offense. This is easy. He's a third-string quarterback. And that's not to say that you can't accomplish great things with Carson Wentz, but it's the right thing to do because you have to look at Carson Wentz's injury history.
Oh, that's right. If only there was some history between Foles and Wentz. Oh, yeah, there's a statue in Philadelphia that should remind everyone of that. So, Dan Orlovsky, when you hear him say the Colts should go get Nick Foles, what do you think?
Run away. Do not, and I love Mike T, do not listen to that. I knew you were going to go there, so I did my research, Mike T. First of all, the 49ers drafted Trey Lance instead of Jimmy Garoppolo because Jimmy G ain't good enough, okay? Like that's why they drafted Trey Lance. Number two, you talked about Tannehill and Cutler. I love you. You guys went 6-8 that year. Jay Cutler did not save your season. He threw for 17 touchdowns and 12 picks. So it wasn't like that saved the season. Number three, Ryan Tannehill tore his ACL. You guys knew Tannehill was done for the season. The Colts and Carson Wentz, they're looking at maybe missing a game or two is their optimistic feeling. So that's a completely different situation. Three, Nick Foles, let me say this, greatest backup quarterback in the history of the NFL. I love Nick Foles. In the last 2 seasons, when he starts at quarterback, his teams average 17 points a game. He's 44th in the NFL in yards per attempt in the last 2 years and couldn't knock off Gardner Minshew and Mitchell Trubisky. Stop constantly correlating Nick Foles with Carson Wentz and it being a better option.
Yes, I mean, we have seen at least one example, well, 2 examples of it being a better option, but go ahead.
Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo is 24-9 as a starter. If that's not good enough, I'm not really sure what is. And all I'm saying is when you're a general manager and your resources are scarce, that's my point. We went out and got Jay Cutler. That was the best option possible. I'm saying it's fortuitous if you're Chris Ballard that you could go get somebody at 2% of your salary cap to give you a great insurance policy.
Okay, I'm going to come back to this. Shefty, I have more questions for you about it. Orlovsky obviously has a lot to say about it. I have to go to some other stuff here, but we will come back to that, I promise, because there is much more to be said